Hi and welcome to Wallers TV in the Ledbury kitchen. Hope you're doing very well. Today we're going to show you how to make one of my favourite meals, the Beef Wellington. First, you need the main event, a beautiful piece, middle cut beef fillet. As you can see, a nice bit of marbling going through there. It's a Herefordshire breed, beautiful breed. We also need pate, mushrooms, Parma or prosciutto ham, salt and pepper to season, Dijon mustard, a little secret ingredient, some butter, and obviously the pastry to encase it all together. Okay, so first things that we need to do is get that pan nice and hot. Okay, so while the pan's getting nice and hot, we're going to dice up our mushrooms, okay? First things first with that beef fillet is a little bit of oil. It's bad practice to oil the pan, especially if you're using a griddle, because all the oil sits between the grooves. But obviously we're not using a griddle today, but either way it's good practice just to give it a nice little covering of rapeseed oil or olive oil. Olive oil can get a little sticky if you're stir frying, so go for rapeseed oil, but for this sort of job you can use olive or rapeseed oil. Little sprinkle of salt, a little sprinkle of pepper, depends how much you like your pepper. Both sides, north and south, rubbing it in. There you go. And then this is that. Now we don't want to cook the fillet. We're not looking to cook that fillet. What we're looking to do is sear it, a nice golden brown covering all the way around, all surfaces, just to ensure that it keeps that fillet nice and dry on the outer side, so it doesn't make the pastry wet when you put it in there. Okay, so we're just going to leave that for a minute or two. Okay, using tongs, you lift it up and turn it over. Look at that beautiful golden brown colour. Absolutely beautiful. Don't be afraid if it charred slightly. That's really what you're looking for, is to get it nice and charred on the outside there. Okay, you can see the smoke coming up off the pan. You do need to ensure that you've got good ventilation, extractor fan or a window or both. We've turned our extractor fan off today because they can be a little noisy. So we have turned that off today, but we've got a window and it's airing beautifully. See this? Beautiful. Let me just take it off the heat a second so you can see. Beautiful colour. Now also, if you can look into the pan and see the pan, there's some beautiful stock starting to create. You don't want to wash the pan. When we put the mushrooms in after the fillet, all that juice will be gathered up and really create a beautiful stock which will contribute towards the casing of the Wellington. Okay, so as you see, the fillet is now beautifully seared on all sides. If we just have a little sneak peek, it's not cooked at all, it's just seared on the outside. So we take that off and we just drop it onto a tray and allow it to set. Now we want to use that same pan and put our mushrooms and a little bit of butter in there. So chunk of butter, just allow that to break down. Okay, so the butter's nicely melted, so we're going to put our mushrooms. I'm just going to allow those to soften. Okay, so I've dropped a nice bit of sprig of thyme in there. We allow that beautiful herb flavour, that distinct thyme aroma to be absorbed into the mushrooms. Oh, the smell of that thyme, the smell of the thyme, the butter and the mushrooms is one of the most beautiful aromas, second only to a beautiful piece of fillet being cooked. Okay, now that mushroom is a beautiful golden brown colour, we're just going to take the time and carefully pull off those little sprigs. Those beautiful. We're going to take the time, we're going to slowly take off the leaves. Not a lot, because the flavour is already infused into those mushrooms. Well, you don't want any of the stalk. There we go. So you can see little tiny little leaves now. Okay, and we just take that up, we put that with the pate, and we don't mix it yet. We allow the mushrooms just to cool a little. Exciting time. The mushrooms are cool and ready to be mixed with the pate. So we get ourselves a fork or a spoon. I'm going to use a spoon because it allows me to spread it out easier. So easiest way to do it is lift the mushrooms on top of the pate and impose them in. Now we lay out the puff pastry. This is siliconized, I suppose, baking parchment. We call it siliconized greaseproof, but it's actually baking parchment, so it actually cooks on this. It's important that what you're going to lift it up with, you leave underneath, gives it a bit more stability. Okay, so we take we're using Parma ham, and we lay it out like so. Okay, now we lay the Beef Wellington on, and we take our Dijon mustard, and we slowly spread the Dijon mustard over the top. And now we take the pate and we add the pate. Okay, we take one more slice of Parma ham, flip it over like so. There we go. Beautiful. Bringing the Parma ham up on each side, and we egg just on the outsides of the fillet. We bring pastry up and over, and we try to keep it as close to the fillet as we can, and then we push down. Same with this end. Your beautiful Beef Wellington that's yet to be decorated. So you take the offcuts of the pastry, using the heel of your palm, push down and roll over. And again, so you bring it all together, turn it 90 degrees and do the same. Okay, so you get a nice firm piece of pastry. First thing you do, before you do anything, is you egg wash the outside of the Beef Wellington. And then what I always do if I'm making pies or anything, is I always very lightly score. Do not go through the pastry. Okay, so there you have your beautiful Beef Wellington. Okay, if you want to cook this rare, 25 to 35 minutes at about 180. If you want to cook it medium, 30 to 45 minutes at about 180. If you like it cooked through a little bit more than medium, you don't really want it that pink inside, once you've taken it out of the oven, allow it to rest for 5 to 10 minutes. That will allow the steam inside the pastry to cook that fillet a little bit more through, okay? Now, this is my wife's favourite meal too, so I'll take this home and hopefully gain a few brownie points. Hope you enjoyed the video. wallersbutchers.co.uk for the website, wallersbutchers.co.uk for the Facebook page, and Wallers Butchers YouTube channel. See you next time.